시작해볼까요? 다음 환자.
Oh hell yes.
7K Dreamer, please.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be checking out Mythical Awakened Jack, but before we look at the PvP runs, we are going to check out how to gear him. His gear is pretty specific after some testing over 2 nights, so I think this is probably one of the better setups I have. I gave him double lethal so that he's able to cool down his skills fast enough and use them again, because his skills are pretty good, I would say. Mine's level 44, very thankful to get him from the free summon yesterday. Armor double HP, and for his ring, I given him the Willful Ring, height, as well as purification. Now the reason why you want to give him the Willful Ring is because he has a very amazing shield that can take in lots of damage, and that even includes Agnes Flame, so it's extremely useful. So he's able to, you know, have a lot of HP, so Willful Ring is pretty good, and of course the height is supposed to prevent him from being countered. For his jewels, I've given him crit and lethal increase so that I can boost his damage output. Survive on 1 HP is a must-have for every single hero now without that effect. And also skill use chance and status effect resist. If you don't have this 7 out of O jewel, you can always give him the Dark Knight one. Sorry, the Fallout of O1, which increases skill use chance by 10%. Of course, the reason why you want him to have high skill use chance is because of his top skill. He is able to reduce buff duration by 2 turns at level 44, so that's very good at removing Guardian Rings right from the start of the battle. So if he uses that skill first, then it's going to benefit you a lot, as we will see later. His traits include skill use chance, electrify resist, and blind resist, and his exclusive item definitely needs to be unlocked. As you can see, it is very useful, and basically this is the core of why he is good, because of the exclusive item. He heals whenever he uses a skill, which is also another reason why you want to have low cooldown for him. He also is able to do additional damage with his bottom skill to offensive and magic enemies, which makes him extremely strong. Okay, so of course naturally we'll try to use him in an offensive team, and for the offensive team, this is the build that I'm using him in. This is actually the very standard offensive team. I replaced Gerard and Fenrir, okay, for him, and it actually works pretty well, I have to say. I think this is one of the strongest setups for an offensive team with Jack. I tried Fenrir in the live stream and it wasn't working out that well, I would say, somehow, because we lack cleanse, and I think Cog's role is pretty important, so hopefully, you know, your Cog can cleanse early as well.
다음 환자. 내가 이런 일까지 굳이 손을 써야겠나?
If the Cog doesn't cleanse early, then hopefully, yeah, like here, he uses his top skill very early. If he used it in the first turn, it will be even better, because by the second turn, all the Guardian Rings will be gone, but he used it on the second turn, so it's okay. But as you can see, I can immediately start doing damage right away, and that's the good thing about using Jack very early. Of course, you know, even if he doesn't use his skills and you have high skill use chance for your Phi, that's also very good, because Phi is able to do damage through the Agnes Flame, and it's not going to be you're not going to care about Guardian Rings or whatnot, right? So Phi having high skill use chance is also viable, but in this case I really want to test Jack out, and Dylan's here is really just as my counter hero, and he's dishing out huge amounts of damage. I would say Jack's skills in terms of ignore defense is somehow a little disappointing. I expected a lot more from his ignore defense, but either the enemy has too much defense or very high block rate. I think the damage is constantly being nerfed by all these factors, and I wasn't able to see that kind of damage that I expected from him. So unfortunately, that's the case with Jack. And the bad thing about having high skill chance for him is that, as we know, he is a damaging unit. So if he uses his skills too early, then he'll be facing a lot of Guardian Rings, and that will mean no damage. Like in this case, he missed anti, yeah. Somehow he says miss. So it's pretty unfortunate sometimes if he uses his skill too early. You are using it for the effect more than the damage. Yeah, so these are things you want to consider before equipping him. So if you like him to have more damage oriented, then try to give higher skill use chance for your 5. Okay, but in this case I really want him to move, so I gave him higher skill use chance. And I guess sometimes it pays off, so I'm not complaining. As you can see, I want to talk about his shield. His shield is the most important thing. Okay, if you were to look at the damage he takes, sometimes he gets hit by Agni's Flame and he doesn't give a crap about it because the shield just tanks it. And I think, as mentioned in the dungeon video, his shield probably absorbs about 1,000,000 damage or so. Okay, maybe not 1,000,000, maybe slightly lesser, but definitely a lot of damage can be, evaded just from that sponge absorption. And this is the damage we want to see, right? This is the damage we are all expecting from Jack, and I'm glad I finally had one chance to show it, because out of so many battles, really, he does not do that amount. Yeah, so I'm a little skeptical whether is it my issue or the enemy's issue. Yeah, so all these things, it's very hard to say, but thankfully we managed to have a moment like that. As you can see, his healing is also very good for the offensive team, which tends to take a lot of damage, especially if you face enemy offensive teams who will use Phi. There's no reliable way to heal at all if you face enemy teams like that. And we faced a lot of magic teams, to be honest, especially this team, which is the current meta team, right? Who is using Anti, Yonhee, Eve, Judas, and Rudy. This is pretty much the most common team I was facing. Okay, to be honest, my thoughts are that I don't feel that the offensive team, even with Jack, is able to step up to that level. The reason is because he's using his bottom skill now, so we just take a look. No damage. If he uses his top skill, maybe we will see something, but the thing is, yeah, see, that's the thing. He uses his bottom skill first. Okay, the thing is, I feel that they have a lot of units that are very good on their side. We have Yonhee, who hits 2 targets, and that is a huge benefit already. And then we have Eve and Anti, and they all rely on status effects to incapacitate the enemy team. You rarely see this in offensive teams, right? Offensive teams really rely on brute force and Agni's Flame. So it all goes back to the reliance on Agni's Flame. If your heroes don't have enough brute force, which means if red grid 60% isn't enough, even in this case, then what exactly can we rely on? We always go back to Agni's Flame in that case. And Agni's Flame is the only crippling mechanism in the offensive team. And if not for Agni's Flame, I'm really not sure, how we are able to go through all that damage, because it is the only fixed damage possible to break through block. And with Yonhee hitting like this, the only other equal is Dylan's, but Dylan's dies so fast. Like, Dylan's really dies so fast, and that's something that they will never be on par with Yonhee.
내가 있다는 여기까지 굳이 쏘았어야겠나?
Not to mention all the skill nullification that magic teams can afford. So I decided, why not just put Jack in a magic team? Because if a magic team is so cancer already, why not try to make it stronger? Since if Jack is actually that good, then he should be good in a magic team. He should be able to support a magic team very, very well, and we'll see how that goes. Of course, I have Abel here, who is my pride and joy. And we are facing an offensive team here. So according to Jack's passive, he's also able to decrease physical attack by 50% up to turn 5. Okay, take note of that. So he uses this top skill first at the first turn. Very good. Extremely good. So turn 2, all the Guardian rings should be gone. The next turn, my Abel counters and is able to hit through. So I think the synergy here is perfect. Okay, if he uses the top skill first, Abel can hit through very well because of the turn decrease. And 5 dies, so that's perfect. In fact, I'm also thinking that should he be given the ambush set, because you know he has 2 5-man AoE, all the more you want his attacks to connect. And the ambush set actually increases your accuracy rate and also gives you 1 turn more if your buff duration exists. Buff duration reduction exists. So he'll get 3 turns of buff duration reduction. And this is very good against immunities, good against Abel's reflect immunity provided, and so many other things, so many buffs that currently are slowly exceeding, you know, the 3 turn count. So is the ambush set probably a good thing as well? Of course, some of you may be thinking, you know, give him the blessing set, because this increases his attack stat, which is very good. Not only that, he will also have his damage with absorption shield, right? So he will also be reflecting damage with the blessing set if you use the blessing set. So unfortunately here he uses the bottom skill, which I said, against the Gaia race, there is really no effect. So I really wish he could use the top skill more. It's very ironic because before level 42, when I was level 40, before level 44, when I was level 42, he will always use the top skill first. And then when he's level 44, he will use the bottom skill a lot. So that's super annoying, but yeah. Unfortunately, I feel that even in a magic team, the only time he gets to shine is through the healing. And I don't even feel much of the physical attack drop, to be honest. And yeah, I feel that his strength comes in the healing for the magic team if he's placed in a magic team. And it's very weird because even when I was using this team, right, I was carried all the way back to Supreme, and I decided to pause for a while to let myself drop back to Grand. It really shows you that a magic team can proceed that far even with just the 4 main heroes, or rather 2 main heroes, or rather just Anti. You know, that's how strong the magic team is when Jack does almost nothing. Okay, maybe he heals once in a while, but you know, on the general scale of things, I don't see his value that much in the magic team. So that's something to think about. One thing for sure I can say, his survivability is amazing. The shield, if it's not removed, it will take you so long to bring him down because his shield is just amazing and he really stays alive throughout the entire battle without much issue, unless, you know, his shield gets removed by Yonhee or Daya, or I don't know who else removes shields. Platin. Okay, I must remember to mention Platin. You can see here, he is still alive with Anti, and the 2 Hyde Reapers are really going for it. So I really thought I was gonna win here, but look at this. This is with 50% physical attack down. That is how much damage, you know. Can you imagine? Can you imagine without the 50% physical attack decrease? So yeah, overall, should you pull for Jack? Honestly, I don't see his value that much unless you are using an offensive team. If you are not using an offensive team, I suggest you don't have to pull for him, because I feel that the magic team and universal team still have their strengths. So I think we have reached a stage, very interesting situation in 7 Nights, where we don't have to pull for every single hero right now, which is usually not the case, because every time a new hero comes out, you will be able to change the meta with it. Okay, but in this case, Jack is really suited for the offensive side. It will make the offensive team stronger, bulkier, and maybe more competitive in the higher levels, because in the higher levels, really very few top players use offensive teams. I know offensive teams are a lot more common in the bottom tier because they are really easy to build. You have Dylan's, who is almost freely available, and you have free truths. You have Fives that are given for free. Who else? Red Grid is in selectors now, and Fenrir definitely is a must for newer players as well. So you know, all these offensive heroes, they are very easily obtainable compared to the primes used in your magic team. So I think Jack is definitely a key hero there. But you know, even without Jack, I believe offensive teams likely still have a chance because I mean, just a while ago I was facing so many Fenris that don't die, right? So I think that's one thing. And the only problem with Fenrir is honestly if he meets a Judas that cuts his healing, right? But beyond that, if your Fenrir can live all the way and heal constantly, I don't think you have a big problem in arena at all. So once again, I feel that Jack is really just for offensive team users, and if you're not running an offensive team, you don't really have to spend too much on him, okay? So I hope you enjoyed this video and give it a like if you did. Subscribe to my channel. Big shout out to my channel members ZMD Phoenix, the Woka Cafe and Yamaki for the support. Stay tuned for more videos. Thank you so much and see you!